There is a secret, my friend, one that Napoleon Hill himself wrote about in his timeless principles. Success hides behind the door of discomfort. Every great achievement was born in moments when quitting seemed easier than continuing. Yet, the ones who rose to greatness pushed forward when the path was steep and the light was dim. Hill taught us that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. When the work feels hard, when the results seem far away, that is the precise moment life is testing your worthiness. The challenge is not your enemy. It is your forge. Do not wait for the world to make it easy for you. Push yourself. Demand more of yourself than the situation demands. The man or woman who endures one more hour, one more call, one more step beyond the point of comfort is the one who will own tomorrow. The magic is not in the beginning, when enthusiasm is high, nor in the end, when the reward is visible. The magic is in the middle, when your will is tested. Push yourself there. Surprise yourself. For as Napoleon Hill said, victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. Success is hidden in discomfort. And that is a truth that most people spend their lives trying to avoid. The moment something feels uncomfortable, the natural instinct is to step back, to retreat into the safety of what is familiar. But what Napoleon Hill and every great achiever in history understood is that comfort is a silent killer of dreams. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it robs you of growth. Discomfort, on the other hand, feels heavy, awkward, and even painful, yet it is the exact environment in which your potential expands. If you think back to any achievement in your life that made you genuinely proud, it was likely born out of a period when you were pushed beyond what you thought you could endure. You were tired, uncertain, maybe even afraid, but you kept going, and the victory was all the sweeter because of it. The reason success hides in discomfort is because discomfort forces you to grow in ways that comfort never will. When you stay in your comfort zone, you're not challenged. You operate within the limits of your current skills, your current mindset, your current habits. But success demands that you become more than who you are right now. It demands that you stretch yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. That stretching process is uncomfortable because it requires effort, discipline, and the willingness to face fear and failure. Every time you step into discomfort, you are in effect telling yourself, "Now I'm ready to grow." Napoleon Hill famously said that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is more than just a motivational slogan. A motivational slogan. It is a roadmap for achievement. The discomfort you feel in chasing your goals is the adversity. It's the early mornings when you'd rather sleep, the long nights when you'd rather relax, the moments of doubt when you question whether the effort is worth it. Those are the seeds. If you can endure those moments and nurture them with persistence, they grow into benefits you could never have imagined. The benefit might be a tangible result, like more income, a better position, or a finished project. Or it might be intangible, greater confidence, stronger resilience, sharper focus. Either way you win, but you can only collect those rewards by walking through discomfort around it. What stops most people is the illusion that discomfort means something is wrong. We are wired to interpret struggle as a sign of danger, a cue to pull back. But in the pursuit of success, discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It's a signal that you're on the right track. The muscle grows only when it is torn and rebuilt. The mind sharpens only when it wrestles with challenging problems. The spirit strengthens only when it faces trials and emerges on the other side. Discomfort is the proof that you are building something new within yourself. Think about how many dreams die because someone wasn't willing to be uncomfortable for just a little longer. The breakthrough is often just beyond the point where most people quit. That is where the hidden treasure lies, in the territory where few are willing to go. If you can learn to see discomfort not as a punishment but as a teacher, you will unlock a power that most will never. You will start seeking out those moments when you feel stretched, because you will recognize them as opportunities in disguise. The most successful people in history have all spent more time in discomfort than in ease. They have trained themselves to act despite fear, to work despite fatigue, to move forward despite uncertainty. They don't see discomfort as the enemy. They see it as the arena where champions are made. The day you make that same shift in perspective is the day your life changes. When you stop asking, how can I make this easier, and start asking, how can I make myself stronger, you begin to operate at a different level. You don't have to love discomfort, but you do have to respect it. You have to see it as a necessary partner on the road to your goals. So every moment you spend in discomfort is an investment. The returns may not show up immediately, but they will come, and they will come multiplied. This is the price of success, and the ones who are willing to pay it in full are the ones who discover just how far they can go. So the next time you feel that tug of resistance, that moment when everything in you wants to stop, remember this. Success is hidden right there in that exact moment. Push into it, not away from it, and you will uncover what most people never will. Self-demand creates success, and that principle is as timeless as it is challenging to live by. Most people wait for the world to push them, for circumstances to force their hand, or for some external motivator to appear before they take decisive action. But the individuals who achieve greatness, those Napoleon Hill often referred to as the ones with definiteness of purpose, do not wait for permission, pressure, or perfect timing. They create their own standard of excellence and then hold themselves to it even when no one is watching. That is the essence of self-demand. Setting expectations for yourself that exceed the demands of the situation. When you rely on outside forces to dictate your effort, you limit yourself to the minimum necessary for survival. You do just enough to meet the deadline, to fulfill the requirement, to pass the test. But when you demand more from yourself, you push past the line where most stop. You train harder, study longer, practice deeper. You begin to close the gap between your current potential and your true capabilities. This internal drive is what sets apart the leaders from the followers, the innovators from the imitators, the wealthy from the merely comfortable. Napoleon Hill emphasized that success is a result of deliberate and consistent act. That means your progress is not determined solely by talent or luck, but by the relentless standards you set for yourself. Self-demand is not about perfectionism. It's about refusing to settle for mediocrity. It's about asking yourself daily, is this my best? And being honest enough to know when it's not. It's holding yourself accountable even when it would be easier to give excuses. The people who win in life are those who are willing to make themselves uncomfortable today for the sake of a better tomorrow. Self-demand also breeds self-respect. When you know you've given your all, you walk taller, speak with more conviction, and operate with greater confidence. That inner strength can't be faked. It comes from the private victories you've earned in moments when you could have slacked off but didn't. No one else might notice the extra mile you walked, the extra hour you worked, or the extra care you took, but you notice. And over time, those unseen acts compound into visible success. There's a crucial truth here. The world will only meet you at the level you demand of yourself. If you expect little, life will give you little. If you expect greatness, life will test you. But it will also reward you accordingly. High personal standards force you to rise. They stretch your skills, deepen your knowledge, and strengthen your resilience. Strengthen your resilience. In the process, they attract opportunities that would otherwise pass you by. It's easy to fall into the trap of doing just enough. After all, doing the minimum often avoids criticism and still gets you through the day. But this is the path to stagnation. The ones who stand out, the ones whose names are remembered, are the ones who consistently operate above the baseline. They produce more than expected, learn more than required, and give more than asked. And they do it not because someone told them to, but because they've trained themselves to accept nothing less from their own efforts. Self-demand is not about working yourself into exhaustion or chasing unrealistic ideals. It's about committing to progress. It's about showing up with full effort regardless of mood, distractions, or outside validation. It's about having the discipline to work when others relax, to focus when others drift, and to persist when others quit. And to persist when others quit, it's not a one-time act, it's a lifestyle. When you adopt this mindset, every challenge becomes a proving ground. Every task, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to strengthen your identity as someone who does their best. This is how habits of excellence are formed, by consistently doing more than you have to until it becomes second nature. And when that happens, success is no longer a matter of chance, it becomes a matter of time. Napoleon Hill believed that you can command your own destiny if you take full control of your thoughts, actions, and standards. Self-demand is how you do it. You become your own coach, your own critic, and your own biggest supporter. You stop waiting for the world to push you because you've learned to push yourself. And in doing so, you step into a rare category of people, the ones who achieve what others only dream about. Persistence outlasts resistance, and that single truth is one of the greatest separators between those who succeed and those who surrender. The obstacles you face are not random. They are designed to measure how badly you truly want what you say you want. Most people quit not because the goal is impossible, but because they run out of patience before the breakthrough arrives. Persistence is the discipline of continuing to push forward long after the excitement has faded and the work has become hard, boring, or even painful. It is the stubborn refusal to give resistance the final word. In the beginning, resistance often feels small, minor inconveniences, a few rejections, a little fatigue. But as you get closer to your goal, resistance grows stronger. It will test your commitment with delays, detours, and disappointments. This is when most people stop. They assume the difficulty means they're on the wrong path, when in reality it often means they're closer than ever to success. Napoleon Hill himself reminded us that most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. That extra step, the one taken when you've already given your all, is where persistence earns its power. Persistence is not glamorous. It doesn't always come with applause or recognition. It's made up of quiet, repetitive actions, early mornings, late nights, countless attempts that may yield no visible progress at first. But like a seed beneath the soil, your efforts are taking root even when you can't see them. Each day you persist, you weaken the grip of resistance. You train your mind to push past excuses and your body to adapt to the demands of your ambition. Eventually, resistance breaks, not because it disappears, but because you have grown stronger than it is. The beauty of persistence is that it doesn't require perfection. You will make mistakes, experience setbacks, and feel doubt. Persistence allows you to fail without giving up. It is the ability to fall and rise again, to see a closed door and find another way in, to face a wall and start chipping away at it day after day until it gives way. That relentless spirit turns temporary defeat into eventual victory. It is a slow, steady pressure that wears down even the toughest resistance. Many people overestimate the role of talent and underestimate the power of persistence. Talent may open doors, but without persistence, those doors eventually close. Persistence can overcome a lack of natural ability, limited resources, and even early failures. History is filled with stories of ordinary people who achieved extraordinary results simply because they refused to quit. They weren't necessarily the smartest, faster, most gifted, but they were the ones still standing when everyone else had walked away. What makes persistence so powerful is that it compounds over time. Every day you persist, you're not starting from scratch. You're building on the foundation you've already laid. Each repetition sharpens your skills. Each challenge strengthens your resolve. Each small win fuels your belief that the next step could be the one that changes everything. Everything. And when you stack enough days of persistence together, you create unstoppable momentum. The truth is, resistance never fully goes away. The moment you aim higher, it reappears to test you again. But the persistence you develop along the way becomes part of your identity. You stop seeing resistance as a reason to quit and start seeing it as proof that you're doing something worthwhile. The stronger the resistance, the greater the potential reward. Napoleon Hill's lessons make it clear, persistence is the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't care where you start, what you know, or who you know. It only demands that you keep going when every part of you wants to stop. And the moment you cross that invisible line, when you've outlasted the resistance, you step into the rare space where dreams turn into reality. You realize the fight was never against the obstacle in front of you. It was always against the temptation to give in. The ones who persist win, not because it was easy, but because they refused to end the story before the victory came. The magic is in the middle, and that is where most people either make or break their dreams. The beginning of any pursuit is usually filled with energy, and some novelty. You're excited, the vision is fresh in your mind, and the obstacles haven't yet shown their full size. The end, too, is thrilling when the finish line is in sight and the rewards are within reach. But the middle, that long stretch between the spark of starting and the satisfaction of finishing, is where the true battle happens. Napoleon Hill understood this well when he emphasized the importance of sustained effort. The middle is where enthusiasm fades, distractions multiply, and progress seems slower than you imagined. It's the place where goals go to die for those who aren't prepared to endure. In the middle, the excitement of the start has worn off, but the payoff of the end hasn't arrived. This creates a dangerous gap where doubt begins to whisper in your ear. You start questioning whether you chose the right goal, whether you have the ability, whether the effort is even worth it. Resistance seems heavier here because the work has lost its shine and taken on the weight of reality. This is where Napoleon Hill's principle of definiteness of purpose becomes critical. Without a clear vision and a reason strong enough to keep you moving, the middle can drain your willpower until you walk away. But the middle is also where transformation happens. It's where you begin to develop grit, patience, and a deeper commitment to your cause. In the middle, you stop relying on the high of motivation and start building the muscle of discipline. You learn to act without needing to feel ready. You discover how to keep going without visible proof that your efforts are paying off. This is why the middle is magical, because it forces you to grow into the person capable of handling the success you're chasing. Hey, without the middle, the end would have no meaning, and you wouldn't have the strength to sustain the rewards once you got. The middle is also where most people quit, and that's why those who stay find themselves in a rare and valuable position. If you can keep moving while others drop out, your odds of success skyrocket, not because you're necessarily better, but because you've outlasted the competition. In the middle, small, consistent actions compound quietly in the background.
The progress is subtle at first, like watching a seed underground, but eventually it bursts into something visible and powerful.
Those who leave early never get to see that growth because they couldn't endure the unseen phase. One of the great truths Napoleon Hill shared is that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It's simply part of the middle. There will be days when you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and other days when it feels like you're standing still. But as long as you're still in motion, you're still in the game. And staying in the game is half the battle, because the middle is as much a mental challenge as it is a physical one. It's about mastering your thoughts, controlling your focus, and resisting the temptation to settle for less than what you set out. When you look at any story of success, the middle was the longest and hardest part of the journey. It was the months or years of practice before the big break, the endless rewrites before the bestseller, the countless failures before the breakthrough. The middle doesn't care how much talent you have. It only responds to persistence. This is why those who learn to embrace it instead of dreading it eventually stand out from the rest. The magic in the middle is that it quietly molds you into the kind of person who can handle the victory at the end. It teaches patience, resilience, and the ability to work for something bigger than immediate gratification. And when you finally reach the end, you realize the middle was not just the hardest part. It was the most important. It gave you the depth, the strength, and the wisdom to appreciate the success you fought for. That's why those who understand this truth don't run from the middle. They run toward it, knowing that's where the real transformation takes place.